Okay, welcome to this episode of The Middle Row with Jose, that's me.
And me, Zeb.
In this episode, we're going to be reviewing Death Note. And that's Death Note, the Netflix version. So don't get all excited thinking it's the anime or anything like that. It's just going to be the plain old Death Note, the Netflix version. And let's not step around the controversy here. And let's discuss the elephant in the room.
First of all, you've actually just educated me on the idea that this was an anime. I did not know that.
Okay, that's good because you haven't seen the anime and you haven't seen the Japanese movies. So you're coming at the film pretty fresh. So you'll have a uninfluenced opinion about it. And a lot of people on the internet who hate this film.
They hate the Netflix version, or do they hate the Japanese version?
The Netflix version.
Oh, wow, okay.
And there's a lot of reasons why, but since you're coming at it fresh, you'll have a different opinion on it. And so elephant in the room, which is whitewashing. Basically, that is when they replace a character of a different ethnic group, let's say Japanese, because we're talking about a Japanese film here, they remade and replace it with a white actor.
Well, duh.
It happens a lot, and it happened in that latest movie. A lot of Japanese remakes, let's say, it happens, and Death Note specifically. Of course, Light is a Japanese character in the anime, the manga, and the two movies that they did in Japan.
I'm not sure if whitewashing would be considered, if that would be considered the case here, because everybody was white, considering that it took place in the state of Seattle. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that there's no black faces in Seattle, but I guess the story, since it's fresh to me, I thought Light was a white character.
Well, they wanted it to be a Japanese actor. But then you got to look at it that L, the other character, the super detective, was a black guy. And of course, that's a Japanese character. Or, it's played by Japanese characters in the two films. One was Death Note, came out in 2006, and there was a follow-up, Death Note: Light of the New World, which came out later. Blah, whatever. But they were all played by Japanese characters, and I really like the character of L in the Japanese versions and in the Netflix version. They're different characters. So what did you think about the film, basically?
At first I wasn't sure what was going to happen in it, but when I watched it, me and the missus watched it, and we actually liked the story. It kept our interest, so I wasn't bored or turned away. I was intrigued by it a little bit, and so was she. We both thought it was a horror story with a twist.
A lot of the critics are saying that the main character, Light, was not like the character in the mangas or in the Japanese versions. That in the Japanese version, he was supposed to be this intelligent, calculating character that was a nemesis to the character L. In the film, he was whiny. I mean, he was whiny. He did that little scream, "Ah!" But, hey, I could relate to that. If I saw a monster with sticky braids on its back and the little glowy eyes and moving chairs around, I would scream too. I don't care how smart I was. And a lot of the critics are suggesting that, hey, you shouldn't be laughing in this film. It was a horror film. But hey, it had that funny scene. I laughed at it. He was screaming like a little baby.
Screaming like a bitch.
And I thought it fit. There were certain parts in the film that I noticed it should have deserved more time. I think it would have been better served as a TV show.
I don't know. I guess it could have worked as a series, and I thought it was a series when you said Netflix. I wasn't sure if it was a movie or an actual series. but until, of course, I watched it.
Plot moving along where you could sense the tension between the characters, because there was supposed to be a lot of tension between L and Light. L trying to figure out how this guy's killing people, and Light trying to outdo his nemesis L and get away with these murders, which he thought he should be doing.
Do you think it would have done well if it stayed Japanese and still appeared on Netflix?
I still think they would have Americanized it. So I don't think, even if they had a Japanese main character, a Japanese actor playing that main character, it would have made any difference. They would have still Americanized it. There still wouldn't have been enough time to tell the story like it should have been, because I think 90 minutes was the run time, and it just wasn't enough time. And you could tell by the way the story, they were cramming everything in. They had to shorten stuff. I mean, like the first 5 minutes of the film, after you see the little cheerleaders dancing around, he's killing somebody. I mean, the book literally falls out of the sky in the first 30 seconds. So you could tell right then they were cramming stuff together. I mean, that kind of happened in the anime, but the anime is a TV series. So you're stretching out an entire story over a series of 30-minute shows. So you could really get into the characters and figure out the characters and stuff. L, was a nuanced character, the super detective. And I hated Light, even in the anime and the manga. I hated that character. Hated him, wished he would die, right? Is the film as bad as people say it is? I think it carried itself for a Netflix film. I'm not going to say that I'm a fan of the manga or the anime, because I really wasn't. And you can burn me alive for that, but I really wasn't a fan of the manga or anime. I'm a fan of the Japanese films. They are Japanese, so you can't compare the two.
And you wished it would have stayed there. Is that what you're basically saying? Japanese.
Well, I think if they were going to do a Death Note in America, using American actors, that it would have been better served as a series. And they could have fleshed out the characters more, brought in more substantial writing. I think it would have been a good series. And the tension between L and Light going on through a series over a long period of time, like let's say 12 episodes, would have been perfect.
The funny thing with Netflix, and I don't know if I'm going off the subject to a degree, you could binge. So there's not a lot of tension in the anticipation for the next episode. You could just watch 12 episodes in a matter of hours. Of course, the cliffhangers end like cliffhangers as they're supposed to, but you're like, oh, I could just go to the next episode, and then you could watch it without an issue. When there's a wait between a week and the following week and so forth and so on, I think that intensifies how we want to see what happens to these characters, and that would have made your point more, I guess, substantial is the word. I don't know. If they did it into a series. Maybe not Netflix. Maybe another channel.
I don't think it has survived on regular TV, broadcast TV. I don't think it would have. It needs to be horror. Some say there was too much gratuitous violence in it, like the guy getting his head chopped off. On average, I think the Death Note was an average horror movie. Especially if you separate it from the anime and all the Japanese stuff. Alright. And the voice of William Dafoe as the demon was perfect for it. I give it the film an if you're paying for your Netflix account already, give it a watch on a rainy Sunday afternoon. You're not gonna be totally distraught.
I don't think so. I thought it was okay. I liked it.
Okay. We've talked too long now. We're still doing our Kung Fu Theater, so check that out when you get a chance. And our next film review, It Comes at Night. And boy, oh boy, good day. We'll see each other soon.
3 p.m.